Does anybody know anything about female sexuality? In my training, I was told women are difficult, they take too long, we'll never figure them out, and don't worry, the gynecologists are taking care of them anyways. It's a group of people who are already very comfortable discussing sexuality as important, valid healthcare.
If you've heard of the longevity Bible, Lifespan, by Professor David Sinclair, you know that living well is more important than just living long. In fact, this show is dedicated to the science of beauty, wellness, and longevity. That's why I'm so thrilled to partner with Melrose Future Lab. Future Lab is Australia's first supplement range focused on extending not just your lifespan, but your health span. Available exclusively at Chemist Warehouse, these affordable and science-backed supplements are the key to aging well.
I just started digging deep into sexuality and female sexuality and realizing we actually have a lot of data, but it's not what Hollywood says sex is. It's not what, our partners say sex is. And so it goes against the standard societal script of how you're supposed to behave, how desire is supposed to happen. And so I just was like, I want to create I love podcasts. And I'm like, I want to create a podcast looking at female sexuality in education. So many people feel so empowered afterwards to be like, isn't it interesting that our default is to feel broken instead of to feel like maybe I don't have the education that I should have, right? And so to realize like, hey, let me just share some things with you. And I think a stereotype that people put on the menopause of people who are advocating for hormones is that we just want everybody to be on hormones. And it's like, well, no, I don't care what you do, but I care deeply that you have the education and the knowledge to make the right decision for you and to make a decision out of facts and not out of fear.
This conversation is really a longevity play.
It is. Yeah, I truly believe that hormones are part of female longevity, sexual health. We have more data in men just because
pleasure is part of longevity.
Just because we have more data in men, but sexual health is a marker of cardiovascular health. It's a marker of well-being, a marker of, confidence in our bodies. Like there's so many benefits of being intimate, of connecting with people, of communicating about challenging things that I always say it's like the next level of personal growth. But by and large, universally, urologists are very comfortable with sexuality. We're the doctors who get penises hard. We're the doctors that do surgery for when erectile medications don't work, there's surgery to get the penis hard. So it's a group of people who are already very comfortable discussing sexuality as important, valid healthcare.
Yes.
And that's what translates over to the female side. Because one of my aha moments was, who's taking care of the women who are supposed to be sleeping with the people that we're all giving Viagra to?
And what I love about this is that you're just flagging none of this is actually normal and you don't have to live with it.
Right. Yeah. People always ask, is this normal? And I say common doesn't mean normal.
Yes.
Right. So, and then the genitals, dry vagina. People say, dry vagina. And I'm like, have you ever had dry eyes? Have you had a dry mouth? It's awful, right? And just because people will blow that off is not important. So dry vagina, decreased arousal, decreased ability to orgasm, disappearance of the labia minora, shrinkage of the clitoris, tightening and pain with penetration of the vagina, because we need collagen, we need blood flow, we need elasticity in order for sexual touch to be comfortable. And estrogen and testosterone play an important role in collagen, blood flow, nerve function. And when those go low, our pelvis suffers.
I have a great update to share from Melrose Future Lab. Hormonal health is a vital hallmark of aging and longevity. And whether you're navigating perimenopause or menopause, Melrose Future Lab's new ultra-complex supplements are here to support you. Backed by clinical research and using advanced technology for effective absorption, these formulations are designed to provide relief through every phase. Find them exclusively at Chemist Warehouse. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Brushing your teeth, just the act of brushing your teeth is all you need to keep teeth clean. But toothpaste certainly is nice, right? You don't have a dry brush going in there and there's more moisture. And so it's like relying on our body, especially an aging body that produces less moisture, to be all for sexual health. I always joke like, don't put all the pressure on the vagina to provide all the lubrication. The clitoris doesn't lubricate itself. The penis doesn't lubricate itself. Help the vagina out. And also, the amount of moisture isn't correlated to how much you desire sex or how much you're liking sex. It has no meaning to that. And so many people say, well, my boyfriend says I shouldn't need lube because that means I'm not interested in him or I'm not interested in sex. It's like, it just makes it better. It makes it absolutely better. So really to normalize lube as using it all the time, 20-year-olds should use lube.
What do you think is the thing that most women are missing in self-advocacy when it comes to pleasure?
Speaking up, communication, prioritizing their own health. So if you look at what they call the orgasm gap, and they've been doing this research for a long time. Sadly, the orgasm gap is not narrowing. So the orgasm gap is the rate of orgasm between a partnered couple. So they look at same sex and they look at heterosexual. So in heterosexual couples, the male has the highest rate of orgasm. Heterosexual male actually orgasms more than the same sex male and the same sex female when partnered, because his orgasm is prioritized, society-wise speaking. And that's why, Cindy Gallup, who's making the amazing thing, Make Love Not Porn, was realizing people were performing in real life like porn, and it doesn't actually serve people and it doesn't actually please the woman. And so she said, okay, we need to work on sex education better to kind of counteract the fake sex education that porn is providing. It's very interesting. It's very complex. There are some conditions of the labia where it's painful to ride a bike. The external labia might get pulled in with intimacy and pull and tug. So there are some very legitimate reasons to have things augmented a little bit. But because there's such huge profit involved, this is cash in America, that no insurance covers this.
Oh, really? That's
not true. Insurance will cover it for a medical reason.
Okay.
So I can get it covered by insurance for a medical reason. But just because you want to look differently, they're not, for cosmetics, it's not covered. So because women don't have an education, because women aren't able to go on the internet and see what normal labia is. And this is a problem even for Instagram, Meta, to be banned. If the sex educators are trying to say, let's teach people what normal is.
And use the normal words.
And
not euphemisms and exactly.
The best trip is I'll give a talk, I'll give a lecture, and then I'll see the woman the next morning at breakfast or coffee, and she'll be like, I had the best sex of my life last night. And it's simply permission, freedom, education, let go of the fucks of society saying you need to look this way, you need to perform this way, you have to have an orgasm this way, it has to be this fast. Get rid of it all, be in the present moment, be connected, feel what feels good to your body. It's not that hard.
Having a sexual moment, having a sexual life.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you think that that's also going to feed into more curiosity, more education, and more demand for better education as we see more of ourselves.
Yeah. And more permission.
Yeah.
Right? Representation matters. Seeing yourself portrayed, that somebody you relate to, matters. And I think, going back to the amazing Cindy Gallup, she was just on my podcast and we both love that episode. She says, we create the future. We decide what we want it to be. It's not other people that are deciding what your sexuality is going to be like. And it's really that empowerment and that permission that you need. But the other thing I want to talk about as far as libido and it being stereotyped that it's only for libido is testosterone works everywhere in the brain. And that's how it helps libido. And libido is a mood. So if it's true that we have good data that testosterone helps libido, it's also true we have data that testosterone helps mood, because libido is a mood.
You're listening to the highlights edit of a longer episode. If you enjoyed this clip, be sure to download and listen to the full episode.